Okay, anyway, we'll just start off. This is a subject from the MBA, but it is very important in the sense that it has incorporated two components, two key components of the MBA. Number one, we will be looking into the various aspects of international business, and as you know that when you are involved in international business, you'll be involving a lot of nationalities, different nationalities. Different nationalities. That means to say there will be a lot of cultural diversity involved. So we are looking into cross-cultural management. Cross-cultural management. What makes us think of looking into the cross-cultural management? Because people from one country as compared to people from another country, we have a lot of different characteristics, different behavior. One of the most important differences is on the language, medium of instruction, or the language used. Let's say if you cannot even communicate well with the other party, it simply means that you are not going to be successful in running your business. Why? Why do we think that? First, when you're in a host country, we're always looking into a home country. This is a starting point. We call it as a home country, where the company has originally established. So this is a host country, where a company is going to have a branch. Company is going to have a branch or branches, host country. So there are two different team of people involved. You are going to have the so-called foreign staff, right? Certainly you cannot bring all the staff from your own country there, foreign staff. And some of them could be holding key position. Yeah? And number two, you are going to have customers, also from that country. So strategically, it is important that we engage or we train the local staff to understand the needs of the regulations of the company. At the same time, they will help you to manage their customers. Don't you think that there's an advantage? Yeah? Such as the culture, the communication aspect. It's easy for the local people to trust managers from their country rather than another nationality. Number one. And also handling the government people from the host country. So it's easier for them to know the culture, such as you may need to come up with some under-counter money. In certain countries, which I don't name it, without counter money, you cannot get the work done fast. Only local people know about this. But a foreigner like American, European, they may find it, oh, that is what we call corruption. We shouldn't have done it. That's why they fail in a lot of foreign direct investment initially. Yeah? So, in other words, not only knowing the non-people elements, but you also need to know about the culture and characteristic and behavior of the local people. And that's the reason why we call it as intercultural business management. Intercultural business management. Among the study materials, you have this is a main textbook. You can actually get it from library, or if you want to buy. It is not easy to find this text because we have to import from America. This is a text you like to read, and there are a lot of cases involved. Okay? And number two, you need to also have the PowerPoint slides that I'm going to take you through. Okay. And you can actually go through the more portal. And number three, there are a number of important websites. Such as www.cia.gov. That is a World Factbook website. World Factbook website. Check. We may try to look into some of those. You can look into each country's profile. Each country's profile. Such as the GDP, for example. GDP. And also the demographic distribution. What do you mean by demographic distribution? The population in those countries divided according to the age group. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So from there you can see whether it is an aged society or not. Or a country such as Indochina, a very young country with a lot of young people. Yeah? Because that will help me to plan the supply of service of type of goods, which will suit the needs of each age group. Yeah? And also, website on Hofstede. Maybe you look at it. Hofstede's 5 dimensions of national culture. Hofstede. There's a website on Hofstede that you can always visit, under which you will have the few dimensions, such as power distance, uncertainty avoidance, and so on and so forth. Which will take it through, because from the subject of intercultural management, you need to know that to make comparison. Okay? So, we will not really go through every single slide, but just look at the important aspect of it. Yeah, basically, we need to know the world economy is divided into different continents. Yeah? Such as North America, then Europe, you have the European Union. Okay? Asia, of course, you have big China. You have also India, with a large population. And you know about ASEAN countries, and so on and so forth. So these are some of the historical developments in the past. Impact of information technology. I think this is very important. Without information technology and communication, we will not be undergoing globalization. Yeah? Globalization will not be possible without the support of information technology and management and communication. Such as people can communicate by using email, they can communicate by using Skype, yeah? Facebook, and so on and so forth. Conveniently. That's how it has shrunk the world, right, to become smaller. Lower cultural barriers. Is it true? Agreeable or not? Lower down the cultural barrier, because everyone will try to use English, one language. So in that way you can communicate with them. And without traveling, you can actually reach out to the people. And that's how a lot of international business can be going on, without much cost. Most of the communication parts have been taken over by ICM, Intercultural Management. What do you mean by encouraging convergence? Convergence is a scientific term, Convergence. Convergence, normally when we talk about light going on, it will converge, you see. Into one. Different forces be converged into one. Converged into one. Then everything will come and focus at one point. Those are the literal description of the word convergence. But figuratively, we are also looking into everyone will come to one common point. That means everyone will try to speak the same language, that is English. English is a very important tool to strengthen and support international businesses. What do you mean by globalization of human capital? We normally use the word mobility. When we talk about people or human capital, we talk about mobility. Means people are movable. Easily you can travel from one country to another. Yes or no? Because of the air transport. And even without that, you can use Skype to conduct meeting or attend conference meeting. You can do that, isn't it? And also because of the convenience of the ICT, you can actually practice outsourcing. Make sure you know the meaning of outsourcing. Can you explain? Outsourcing or white collar job. Programming, website, designing such as animation, all this can be done in countries where the population, a large percentage of the populations are inclined towards design, drawing, and they can do it from our country and outsource. You outsource to them, they will do it and then send it back using internet. Yeah, we call it outsourcing. Okay, you mentioned 3.3 million US jobs in service sector may be lost or outsourced by 2015. Why do you think that in US there's such a possible trend? Why do you think so? Partly because of the local production cost is much higher. You know, printing, even printing now, printing a lot of people print in China because you just pay 30% of what you used to pay here. They go by volume gain. You get the house ready, email to them, pay the money. Within 1 week, you get the stock. That's how fast is the speed. And also the cost is so attractive that you will seriously consider. These are some of the roles of managers and also the forces they are facing outside the country. Such as when you have gone international, very often you have to actually consider the pastel. You may have to perform what we call pastel analysis, such as political, economical, social culture, technological, environmental. We have one factor, host country environment. We are talking about not only the community, but we are also looking into the physical environment, such as if you have a chance to be in Beijing, you understand what I'm trying to say. The air can be very polluted. So some of you who are not so strong physically, you tend to fall sick. So how are you going to talk about business when you are sick that easily? You get it? And some of the countries like year-end, if you travel to Philippines, Japan, there used to be typhoon and all that, flooded certain part of the city. So your meeting may be delayed because of that reason. And because of the local environment is not conducive, your company is forced to operate outside, operate from outside. Also, you have to take into consideration of religion. in a country such as Malaysia, you have to respect the majority of the population here who are Muslim. When you eat pork and all that, certain things you cannot do it in a Muslim country. So you have to be very careful. No? What else have you experienced? The buying power in terms of the economic environment, the currency used over there is different from here. Some are using US dollar, some prefer to use their local currency. Yes? Political risk. As you know, government will change policy, such as they encourage foreign investor by offering them good incentive or 5 years tax-free. That's why people are willing to invest. Yeah? What if government suddenly raise the raw material of what you need so much? Suddenly your cost increase. So these are some of the factors which are beyond your control, but you need to know. Yeah? Over here, help companies manage exposure to risk and minimize financial loss. Whereby they'll be trading exposure by cautioning people what to do, what not to do. Yeah? So I'm not going to go too much detail into that. Political risk. If you are securing government project by depending on certain group of influential people there, such as Dato and so on in Malaysia, and suddenly they lost their power, will that affect your business running? You cannot secure project continuously, which you used to depend on you. Yeah? Managing terrorism. I think since the tragedy of those aircraft in the US before, he has also cautioned people to be more careful when they travel. Economy risk. When the currency is not stable, yeah, will that affect your cost? If there's an increase by 10%, it means you are earning less of 10%. So you have to be aware of the changes of those climate. So some of the legal environment, Copyright Act, for example, Copyright Act, whereby in a country you cannot simply share the eating area, yeah? Partly because of the law imposed, and also in terms of the Copyright Act for the software. Like Malaysia, the penalty is very severe. You own computer without licensed software, you'll be fined. Technological environment. What do you think about that? Technological environment. Normally we talk about broadband, Wi-Fi broadband, right? The most commonly used terminologies now. And some countries are so advanced that they can use technology to do a backup, you know, on what they would like to present, for example. So in case there's a problem with the internet service, at least there's a backup copy. Server, yeah. Even the power generator in countries like Indonesia, Myanmar and so on, they have a power generator so that there won't be disruption. Global e-business. So it's barrier-free. You can easily run your business to any part of the world, and some people can trust you. Yeah.
What's the difference between e-business and e-commerce?
Okay, good question. E-commerce is just a matter of purchasing and supply. And the moment I supply you the goods, you pay me, that's it. Whereas e-business is wider. We are talking about after-sales service. After you buy the product, the company will not end the business there. They will continue to service you, such as insurance. Once a year, for example, you need to renew, right? So they call you, sir, your policy is going to renew tomorrow. And I know that you're very busy. Would you like to continue and renew it? So those are the service. That means you look at the entire spectrum of business activities in a very holistic manner. Social responsibility. Do you know what is CSR? Corporate social responsibility. It means you company which have been in business for a long time, they like to repay back to the society. Right? Highlighting, while running business, they are also aware of the needs of the general public, such as to educate them with certain knowledge on how to use a product, for example. Yeah? And also the code of ethics. Of course, you need to follow certain rules. Follow certain rules in certain country in terms of the code of ethics. What to be done and what not to be done. Be aware of it.
Can you explain CSR again?
Corporate social responsibility, such as companies which are very successful, they will normally make sure that the moment they expand their business further, they will always look into the benefit and the welfare of the general public. Such as, you must not pollute the air. You make money, but you know, in Singapore, it's very strict. All the cars, you cannot use more than 10 years. The road tax will not be renewed. But Malaysia, you can. But then there should also be a limit. Sometimes the car engine is so bad that they have discharged a lot of gas, poisonous gas. Because of the more than 10 years, he never serviced a car properly, and he has actually discharged a lot of poisonous gas.
Is it related with those certificates as environmental certificates like ISO 14000?
Not really. Those can be a small part of CSR. CSR is very broad. We are looking into, while you are making your profit or running a business, you are also taking the community or the environment into consideration. Such as you don't pollute the air, you don't pollute by using noise, and you don't pollute by water. Certain chemical plant, they discharge the waste into the river, for example, not into a place aside. So you're going to poison and kill a lot of fish. And you see, very successful company normally like to offer some scholarship to the needy people under their name. Free, 100% free scholarship. So in a way, they're encouraging people to study and helping the society to prepare leaders tomorrow. Donation is another form of CSR to the old folk home, needy people. Means you make enough money, but you don't forget about people who are not so fortunate like you. So you give something in return.
To contribute to the society.
While you are also making money.
Making money.
Because people feel that, oh, this company is very responsible, indirectly. The next time that they choose a brand, this is a brand that I should support, because they make money without forgetting us. When they have a lot of money, they subsidize a lot of activities.
So you mean that they use this platform to build out their brand?
Yeah. Many. Human rights issue when operating in China. This can be a very complicated question. What do you mean by human rights issue? First, you need to list out what are the issues. Especially the HR policy, for example. Here, of course, we don't commonly practice. In China, the big bosses or the superior can deduct salary of the staff if he or she is not happy with the subordinate. Today, you are not performing, I'm going to deduct your pay. Means 1 out of the 30, will be giving to the other party. Human rights is another aspect that we need to look at. Human rights. It's part of the social responsibility, because in big countries like America, they cannot employ young school leavers who are only 16 and below. Is considered as illegal. Because those are the young generation. Government are expecting them to go to the university, but somehow some Americans do not want to study, so they have to find a job. But under the American law, they cannot be employed. And that's why there's difficulty for those manufacturers to save money. So the only way for them to operate in a very economical way will be to move the plant to Mexico. You know why are they moving to Mexico? There's no such law to buy them. You use 16, 15 years old guy to work in the factory, it's okay, government will not touch you, because there are a lot of unemployment problem. So they do not want the people to starve, but find them a job, even though they are young. So they work for 2-3 years. When they have enough money, then they go back to the university. So indirectly, you are helping them for preparing for the future. Social responsibility. There's always a case. When you are looking into the priority of the social responsibility, corporate social responsibility, you have to also watch out your profit margin.
What's the end?
Multinational corporation. Multinational corporation. Because of the high cost investment, we really expect to generate profit. So a lot of multinational companies are aware that they should anticipate and solve social needs. People who are poor, find a way to help them. Find a way to help them. A lot of big American companies, when they are trying to enter underdeveloped country, they always have a plan. Maybe give them, let's say, 100 scholarships to study. And from there, people are educated, they remember you for long. Use them as ambassadors. In terms of the shareholder structure, this is just an example. An example. Regional variation. Sometimes religion also can determine. Religion can also determine your business activities. The attraction of doing business in China. Agree? China is getting richer, people can afford to pay. And at one time the labor cost was attractive. Of course now it's getting higher. And a very large market. Cross-cultural society ethic. It's not very clear. Let's see. Individual behavior. We are looking at individual behavior. Okay, when we talk about multinational corporation established outside home country, you need to send a lot of key staff over. When you send key staff, they'll be helping your company's establishment and expansion ethnocentric. Then we call them as ethnocentric. Ethnocentric means you appointed the countryman from your own country to represent your organization abroad. The number one person must come from your own country because of the trust. But then the disadvantage is when you do a expatriation, we call it expatriation. Expatriation. I think X is it? Expatriation. Expatriation. Maybe they are sending the local managers abroad. Yeah? is a meaning of the word independence. Independence.
Interdependence.
Interdependence. Yeah, interdependence. What do you mean by that? We are using that to describe the economy internationally. Have you ever heard about exchanges of products? Saudi Arabian country, they are rich in oil, but it's expensive in terms of water. So they look for countries whereby you can get very good and clean drinking water. Then they exchange together with the trading of oil. So I depend on you on water supply, you depend on me on the petrol supply. Even neighboring countries like Malaysia and Singapore, we also have the interdependence. No?
System butter.
You see, you look at Singapore, they are attracting the cream from Southeast Asia. Every year they offer a lot of scholarship to those high school even from China. And Malaysia, they went through the independent school to offer them a job in Singapore. And after graduation, they will have to sign a bond of 2-3 years to serve the country, the government of Singapore. So in that way, this group of people, they are very good and know their own home country's opportunity. If they are representing the new company, at least by sharing the experience, you can help those countries like Singapore to expand business into, let's say, territory of China or Malaysia. It's easier for their people, to help out in this style of trading. What else can we talk about? And also Singapore needs a lot of blue-collar workers. That's why in Johor you can have 100 or 1,000 people crossing the highway every day. Because they stay in Johor Bahru, which is cheaper, but they earn Singapore dollars. You get it? So the interdependence of resources. We are talking about human resources. You go to the restaurant in Kuala Lumpur now, I would say 99% are mostly chef and the waitress. They are mostly from Myanmar. Trained up, you see, from Myanmar, they're trained up. You get it?
Foreigner workers.
And
in Malaysia also.
There is a human resources. Factory workers, we need a lot of those from Bangladesh and all of countries nearby. Because most of the people here would not want to work in the factory anymore. Very few. Much less.
But this one also can consider under interdependence.
Resources, human resources. You look at the four type of resources, you see. What are the 4 resources? Financial, human resources, information resources, and also 2. Financial, human resource, information resource, and tools. When you need certain high-end machine from Germany, to
run the.
Yes, other the local will not be able to do it. Car
But you
industry.
mentioned that there is an interdependence, right? You need to exchange something with
Yes.
other parties.
Yeah, I
So
may
if
need your people, but you may need some natural resources from me, for example. Have you heard of Boeing? Boeing, the aircraft, their parts are made in different countries. Why do you think they are doing that? Let's say, for example, the tire, they actually purchase rubber from Malaysia for the sake of the tire. At the same time, they are hoping that at least our airline, like Mars, at one time purchased a lot of aircraft from Boeing. So they expect in return, you see. When I'm buying
Why
rubber
don't they
from
just
you,
use the money to buy
What's that?
instead of just exchange? This one mentioned
No,
that
they are providing job. They are not only that, they are providing opportunity for the country, Let's say if your rubbers are being purchased by Boeing, which is from America, the money is coming from US, right? So we have a respect to Boeing that maybe our airline should also buy Boeing, since it supports us economically. Human beings two-way of appreciation. You know. When I help you, you feel very appreciative, then you help me easily in return.
But that's not involving money. No?
More on the business transaction or business dealing. The role of culture. That's number 3. Role of culture. What do you understand by culture? Social culture. What do you understand about culture?
Behavior.
Those accepted behavior by the public in general. And we feel that it's a good practice, that will become the culture. But stealing, robbing, all those are not good culture. Smuggling, drug trafficking, these are not the good culture. The good cultures are very committed to the work, positive attitude, well-mannered. So people encourage. The same the repetition of the same behavior. You can check the definition. A set of shared values, understanding, assumptions, and goals that are learned from earlier generations. Especially in China, you read about a lot of those stories, how the emperors behave, how the people behave. So from there we pick on the good behavior. Punctuality, honesty, for example. Hardworking, yeah. Present members of our society and pass on to the succeeding generation. So the parent will actually groom the children according to the right culture.